for this edition of Off the Bench Radio and another, I guess, the second installment of the Nooga Splash Spotlight Series. And we'll go ahead and bring these two young ladies on and let them introduce themselves. Two softball players of their own, and they have played against a lot of the talent we're seeing here at Frost Stadium, but we're going to find out about kind of their pasts and kind of what softball means to them, and that is Addi Lewis and Hannah Smith of Chattanooga Christian, the softball team there. Ladies, how are we doing this evening?
We're doing good. Excited to be here.
Well, we appreciate you making time out of your summer to come down here and hang out with us and check out some softball here. So, we were talking a little bit before the show started. You guys have seen a lot of these players and, the programs that they represent throughout the season. You have, obviously, you see Silverdale and Baylor quite a bit, during the season, but you've also played the likes of Meigs County, Walker Valley, and Cleveland as well. So, just kind of talk about, just the level of athlete and just the quality of athlete in this area, because three of those teams played in at Spring Fling with you guys. Obviously Silverdale and Baylor won state championships, and you guys are right there on the doorstep as well. So kind of talk about just the level of talent and just what it's like going up against that talent and going toe to toe with them.
It's definitely, it helps you grow as a player, being able to play almost all of the people on the field right now, being able to play all of them during the season, and knowing that you can compete at the same level as them, and that most of them are going on to play at the college level. It really helps you as a player and grow as a person.
Hannah?
Yeah, I agree with everything Addi said, and I also think that being around this much talent, especially Silverdale, Baylor, GPS, and all of those people, being around them also helps you grow, not just playing against them, but learning from everything that they can do and applying it to what you can do is also a nice, cool thing.
For sure, and you guys have a teammate playing in this game as well, the catcher, Emily Matthews. She's played quite a bit in this first game. So we were talking before the show. Let's go and talk about it on air. Hannah, you are a pitcher for CCS, so kind of talk about the relationship between pitcher and catcher. Obviously, she's an upperclassman, a senior this year for you guys, and what's that been like for you as a sophomore, soon-to-be junior, to kind of lean on her and just be a good teammate with her?
Yeah, I've leaned on her since 6th grade, and she's become one of my closest friends. And I think having that pitcher-catcher relationship also brings us closer together, and knowing when I need to be picked up and when I need to be encouraged. And sometimes she needs to know when she needs to get in my face a little bit. So, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, with that relationship, I asked earlier, obviously a lot of you young ladies, y'all play against each other, but is there a certain familiarity that you have to build up with a catcher, or are you looking into next season wondering who's going to catch the ball for you?
Yeah, actually, yes. But I think that whoever my catcher is, I think that I'll have to build a strong friendship first, and a foundation that I can be able to build our relationship off of.
For sure. Again, we're joined by Addi Lewis and Hannah Smith from CCS Softball for this edition of the Nooga Splash Spotlight Series right here on Off the Bench Radio on Talk 102.3, 267-1023, 267-1023. You can call or text that number. You can also find us on X at Off the Bench CHA. And you can also find our YouTube page at OTB423. You can find interview segments from our past shows since the beginning of the year pretty much, and just different content there as well. So definitely subscribe, follow us, and these ladies are on social media as well. So a lot of clips from their travel ball that's getting cranked up. So I know, Addi, you said that you've been in 2 tournaments so far, and Hannah, I think you played in 1, and that seems like it's only the beginning, kind of the lead-off, let's just say, for the summer. So kind of talk about your travel ball coming up, and kind of a cool way to have a summer vacation, so to speak, to see the country as well.
It's definitely a really cool experience to be able to go to different parts of the country and be able to play the game that you love to play while seeing all these different places. I actually just came back from Florida this past weekend. We actually finished 3rd in the Show Me the Money tournament, and it was the 2nd tournament with my new team, and it's really fun to go down, and the level of competition that we were playing was insane. and all of like you just get to see all of the different places that everybody is committed to and they plan to play in college at, and just being able to compete against all of that talent is really, it just makes the game even more fun.
And tell the audience which travel team you play for.
I play for Fury Platinum.
There's a lot of talent across that Fury family, across our local
yeah.
area for sure. So favorite place you've traveled so far in your travel ball?
I went to Colorado a couple years ago, and that's definitely been my favorite. And I mean, I'm sure it'll stay the favorite since I'm going back again this year. But it's just such a fun place to go and being able to play there. Hannah,
let's transition that to you as well. Talk about your travel ball. I know you haven't, you've played one tournament so far, but kind of talk about your process there. And I guess tell the audience, do you have a favorite place you've played at? It doesn't have to be because it's a good softball complex. It could be because the weather's really good or something that you've really enjoyed doing.
I also really love Colorado.
Perfect.
This summer we're going to spend 2 weeks there, and I'm really looking forward to that. But I do love Colorado because the food is really good,
right.
And they have good softball fields, and the weather's nice, and it honestly feels kind of like home.
Speaking right, our tone of voice right there, food.
Said food, I perked right up. Yeah, does the ball travel further in Colorado?
Yes, it does.
That's crazy, right? What's your preference? Do you have a summer ball or school ball? Do you have one you prefer more?
Summer ball?
Or maybe what's the positives and negatives of each one?
That's a good way to put it.
You can't pick your team, I'm sure.
It's really, during summer ball, obviously the weather is a lot warmer, and so like the first part of school ball it's more like, it's not freezing, but it's like cold, and so it's just like playing then and then playing in the summer is definitely way different. Huh. But I enjoy both of the teams that I'm on, school ball and summer ball, so it just makes like the environment that I'm in both of those times just makes the season even better.
What about you, Hannah?
Well, my favorite thing about school ball is that you get to play with your classmates and the people that you see every day at school, and it makes your relationship that much tighter.
Sure, I totally get that.
Oh, absolutely. Man, I had to think. Obviously, you play multiple positions. Do you have a preference on what you play, and what do you like most about that position?
I've always played outfield with some second base mixed in, but I played short for the whole entire school ball season, and just knowing that I can play there and compete with the other shortstops in the area, it really it opens my eyes about how I would say of more not necessarily just an outfielder, but a utility player that I can be, and just being able to help out my team in that position just made playing for school ball even that much better.
What about you, Hannah? Obviously, you're primarily a pitcher, but I mean, do you play other positions, or are you mainly just sticking to on the mound?
For summer ball, I'm actually primarily an outfielder.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and for school ball, I play mostly pitcher, and I can also play infield for school ball too. But I feel like the outfield really is just my favorite because I feel like I can have complete control of the grass. And I just feel like a part of the game more.
Well, I love it. We're off. Go ahead, Justin.
Well, we talked about it, girl, a little bit off air, but we're on an artificial turf here, and you both said you prefer the artificial turf. Speak to that again. Why y'all like the turf?
Honestly, I've played obviously on both dirt and turf for a really long time, and I don't know. It just, the ball on the turf is playing the outfield. It doesn't. In the grass, it's obviously different. The grass is not extremely flat, it's not smooth, but the turf is it's there's no crazy mistakes or crazy hops that it's going to take.
Bounce, yeah.
Yes.
Hey, would you agree with that too? I mean, obviously as a pitcher, is there any differences there between, the dirt and the turf, or is it just hey, it's, I'm on the mound, let's just throw it down, get a strike?
Pitching on turf makes me a little more nervous because I feel like I'm going to fall because I can't wear metal spikes. But
that's a good point. I forgot about that.
Yes, but I think I just like turf in general more because when I'm hitting and since I'm a slapper, I can just beat the ball on the ground and it'll bounce right over the third baseman's head.
There you go.
I like it.
Yeah.
Obviously, to have these two young guests here, very impressive young ladies. I'm sure obviously they've been recognized at the state and region level. But girls, y'all are, for all intents and purposes, you're upperclassmen now, seniors, juniors. Do you feel like you should take on a leadership role, or do you just see what that comes, or what does a leadership role look like to you? And as basically looming upperclassmen and seniors on a young team, you only graduate one senior this year.
Yes, it definitely. As like for Emily being the only senior, it was definitely like to watch her like take on a leadership role and just be by herself. Thankfully, I don't know that I would be able to do that by myself, but thankfully I'm not by myself. I have multiple other seniors with me, so I think that as the seniors, like taking on a leadership role and just like trying to be like the role models for like my other teammates and underclassmen, and just trying to like make sure that they are like settling in and everything is like under control. That way, like, I don't know, it just makes you, like, being a senior, it makes you feel like you take on like this certain like role, and it just like you want to be there for the rest of your team.
And to speak to that as well, obviously, you're becoming a junior this year. Talk about the leadership aspect with that as well. And obviously, the pitcher's a big part of the game, and but you being an upperclassman now, talk about the leadership role right there as well for you.
Yeah, I definitely do have a lot of respect for Emily being able to lead by herself. And I feel like as a pitcher, I kind of already have like a little bit of leadership in me, since I'm like in the middle of the field and kind of like in control of everything. But I think, especially as I'm becoming a junior, I think that it's like stepping into like a leadership role will be not easy, but I think it's easier since like the underclassmen under me I'm really comfortable with, and we're all pretty close.
Any college decisions looming, or what's the
still wide
thoughts
open
on continuing your career in softball? Anything moving there? Or are we just still playing ball?
As of right now, still playing ball. Definitely, this is an important season. Definitely getting looked at by the number of coaches that are at tournaments every weekend is crazy. But like knowing that they're all there and potentially could be one of the places that we end up playing college ball is, I mean, to know that they're there watching you now it's not overwhelming, but it's very cool, to say the least, that they're watching you now and you could potentially play for them later.
Hannah, would you agree with that, or anything to add on that, Mark, right there?
Yes, I do agree. This is like probably for me and her one of the most important seasons, like to get recruited. But yeah, I definitely do want to play college softball. I just don't know where.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, obviously there's plenty of time, and so you mentioned the travel ball, and obviously at state tournaments and stuff like that, spring fling, there's a lot of attention there. Would you say it's like a year-round process? Because I mean, you have the tournaments, you have travel ball, and you also have opportunities like this.
Yes. Yeah, I would definitely say it's a year-round process. Because it's like during school ball, obviously colleges are playing ball then, but like when you post stuff on like your social media, they're still seeing everything that you're doing and keeping up with you. And then during the summer, there's a lot of coaches at each tournament, and they're watching you then. And then during the fall, you play fall ball, but you also have the opportunity to go to camps, and even some people go on visits. So it's definitely it's definitely a year-round process. And there's a little bit of off time, but I am glad that it's more of a year-round process and spread out rather than like all combined into one. Like
you stay loose and ready to go all
definitely.
Season. Hannah, would you agree with that, or is it just kind of? Do you like having it kind of like a year-round, like Addi said, you got camps and travel ball and school ball and stuff like this?
Yes, I definitely do prefer like the year-round process. Like the only time that we really get off is like December and halfway through January, and then school ball starts up again. But yeah, I like that we don't really have like a long break to like forget how to throw a softball or something. Yeah,
for sure. And Justin, we talked about this during our shows back early part of the spring. These spring break trips that a lot of these teams took, they were playing ball down, at these also tournaments. So I mean, it's just like it's definitely a good thing to kind of stay fresh, but also kind of enjoy themselves away from home.
Yeah, softball's a commitment unlike any other. I've got life and family, been watching softball in this area since the mid '90s, and even since then, when we thought it was busy in those days, the commitment that these young ladies have to put forth is is really remarkable. What kind of training regimen do you girls have, or do y'all have any kind of? Is there a diet regimen or anything you worry about to get bigger, stronger, faster? Or is it just skills
Just stay healthy,
training?
yeah.
Like kind of what's the training process as far as staying at the top of your game?
I know that I hit during the summer. I try and stay in like defense and making sure that I'm not falling behind. And I do work out as well in the summer and just like speed and agility train just to make sure that I'm like keeping up with myself and making sure that I'm staying on top of everything. I wouldn't necessarily say that there's like a diet, anything to do with that. I mean, obviously some people, if they feel the need to do that, then they probably will. But for me, that's not really ever been a big part of it.
And how about yourself? I mean, is it like, do you kind of balance like if you're doing work in the cage, pitching or hitting or the agility and strength training, or how's your process look for you?
Yeah, it's usually like everything kind of, not like everything in one day, but like if it's in like a week span, I'll hit every day for sure. And pitching, I kind of take a little bit of a break from pitching in the summer since I don't pitch for my travel team. But I still am pitching like once every other week or something like that for pitching lessons and stuff. So.
Okay, so what do we got expectations team-wise? Obviously, summer ball is something that Jeff and we can't really get out to cover and do things and keep up with the tracks. We kind of focus on the high schools in this area. Do you have any expectations for next season? Obviously, you're going to be a much more experienced team. And what are maybe some of the strength of CCS, and what should we be watching out for from you guys?
I definitely think that obviously losing our one senior and our catcher in one, I definitely think that will be a big hole to fill. But once we figure out how to do that and like figure out a balance for our team, I think that we should be a very successful team next season.
Yeah, and if you like you said, definitely a big hole to fill. Obviously, a big position behind the plate as well. But I mean, I think she was second on the team with 3 home runs this year, so that's a big presence at the bat as well. Talk about you, Hannah. Obviously, you're losing your catcher, but like we said, also losing a bat presence there as well at the plate.
Yeah, it'll definitely be hard losing her as my catcher, and also seeing her every day, obviously. But I think that the people that we have coming up, I think that we can trust them enough to continue to be a winning program, of course, and have fun on the field and still win games.
Back-to-back state championship appearances, right? So I mean, obviously there's experience there. We were talking off air a little bit. We talked about the process with college recruiting and stuff like that. We kind of spitballed a little bit there off air, what you guys had in mind, and Hannah was ready to rock and roll. So Hannah, do you have something in mind as far as a possible major? And obviously you juniors and seniors coming up, so plenty of time to figure that out before you get to wherever you're going to spend your next 4 years. But Hannah, I think had a game plan ready to roll. Talk about that.
Yes, I do have a game plan. So whenever whatever college that I commit to and sign to, I want to major in business and get a degree in that. And so then after I graduate college, I want to go to cosmetology school and do hair and get good at that. And then I want to do it at some place down here in downtown Chattanooga, and I want to potentially own my own place someday.
Do you have any I know you've been thinking about names. You can't tell me you haven't. So anything that might.
Oh, the hair company names are great. The Chop House or something,
That's a good one. I might write that down.
You might get in a little bit of trouble there with a certain restaurant there, but I think we get around that. We get our lawyers on that.
Well, yeah, the fun stuff. So, do you guys have any pre-game music, pre-game rituals, post-game stuff you like to do? Is there anything that gets you fired up, or do you need to be fired up? What's kind of the pre-game stuff that you guys like to get into?
On our school ball team, we have recently we've always done eye black, but if we wear a certain color eye black and a certain color glitter that day, and we play good and we win, we have to keep doing that until it doesn't work anymore.
Okay.
And then I know, me personally, getting ready, I always usually have my AirPods in, and I'm just trying to get myself ready for the game and try and process who we're playing and what I'm gonna focus on doing during that game, and that usually helps me get ready for the game.
Hannah, how about you? Any pre-game or post-game traditions, superstitions, things you keep doing, or is it obviously you have the eye paint or the eye black tradition there for the team, but anything for you personally to kind of get you ready to go on the mound or on the field?
A weird superstition of mine is that I have to put my right shoe on before my left shoe.
Okay.
I don't know why, but that's what
That's
I do.
Science.
Yeah, and most home games, or even some away games too, we play hacky sack before the game.
There you go. Loosen up.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
For anybody that watches, the NHL, you see like videos or pictures of like the players in the tunnel playing like soccer.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's
Stay loose.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. So does that kind of help with your hand-eye coordination, or are you just like, hey, we do this, it's a tradition, we're just gonna keep doing it?
We try to use our hand-eye coordination, but none of us are very good at it.
Yeah, some
We
of us
try.
are better than others.
Yeah.
We should have brought a hacky sack, man. It'd probably make us look, man, that'd be pretty bad, wouldn't it?
Oh, we'd set the sport of hacky back decades. If we
Instead of
tried
hacky sack, it'd be hacky back,
It'd
wouldn't
be
it?
terrible. So, do you guys have a highlight moment of your career? Maybe something, a jaw dropping. Maybe somebody made a play, or you made your own play, or just a fist pump moment that you kind of say that's the highlight of my career. Or that's the most amazing play I've ever seen.
I'll have to think about that one for a second. It's a long time.
We can table that and come back to that
We'll
for
come
sure.
back around.
Well, Justin brought this up early in the show. Kind of talk about y'all's families and kind of how they. Obviously, our parents help and our families help mold who we are, as people, from, whenever we could start running around the house in diapers to we're, going into high school and, as adults and having families. So kind of talk about your families as well and kind of the sacrifices they make and kind of how they help mold you. And because I'm sure, they're traveling with you guys quite a bit during school ball for CCS and in your travel squads there. Kind of talk about that and those memories you're making, as you get ready to go on to the next step of your life.
For as long as I can remember, and as long as I've been playing softball, my family's always been there with me and they've always made sure to be on top of everything and make sure everything's ready to go. So I think that's really helped me play the game as I do and become the person that I am. I'm sure that I know sacrifices have been made, but obviously sacrifices have been made throughout my whole career, and I just think that them being able to make those sacrifices and still be there with me every step of the way it will really play a part in the player that I become.
And how about you?
Yeah, so when I was younger, it was mostly my dad taking me to all the tournaments and stuff, and now recently it's been more of my mom because of my dad's work schedule. But specifically my brother has been to almost every single one of my tournaments, and it feels really nice. If I'm having if I've made errors or I haven't gotten on base, it's nice to see him sitting out there and someone who's willing to come out in the heat 10 hours away from home or something and just see him sitting there and actually watching.
And what's his name? Give him a shout out on the radio.
His name is Drake. He is 10 years old.
Nice.
It's the same way with my sister. She is 11, and she spent her first probably 5 birthdays at the ball field.
Uh-huh.
So I'm sure that wasn't enjoyable for her then, but she likes to be everyone's biggest cheerleader now. So.
Now listen, as long as that concession stand window's open, any 5, 6, or 7-year-old's going to be running there, getting a fun dip or whatever
all
else
the time.
to keep that sugar tank going for sure.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, you don't get to this level and have this without. I'd imagine most of the young ladies you come across have tremendous support, and it's tremendous to see that. I think in the sport, especially like softball, you'll see the moms, like you said, moms and dads out there playing catch and gassing up the car and covering the bills. Not a cheap sport and not a easy investment time-wise for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So I'm trying to think of what to transition here. Well, let's go ahead and talk about what's going on in the field. Talk about the bats coming to life, man. We had an inside-the-park home run from Allison McDaniel from Hickson there. And then Ella Cunningham just ripped off a 3-run homer to extend the lead for Team Tennessee. It's now 9-3 in the top of the 7th inning. So Georgia will have to go to work here in the bottom of the 7th to keep it in this, to have a chance in this one.
No, yeah, I think we should kick it to our guests on this one. What are you girls thinking? You're down 6. What are you telling your teammates here? You're going to get some talented pitching. Is there anything chattering in the boxes right now, or what's happening? What's going on these sidelines down here?
I mean, as like someone that's been in that position, you just have to kind of tell yourself and remind yourself that like you just have to do what you can, like do what you do usually, like just play the game, and it'll happen.
What's it feel like out there on the mound as a pitcher? All eyes on you? Is there added pressure, or do you just kind of have to block out and just you and your catcher?
You definitely do have to block out a lot of stuff. I usually try not to look at the scoreboard because, especially if I'm down, because it'll tear me down and I'll kind of feel a little defeated. So I try to just block that out of my view.
Well, if you're looking, perfect example, like a pitcher like Cunningham, she had that inning where she gave up 3. They kind of slowly stay in the game. They calmed down and had the bats came to life. And until that scoreboard is complete all the way across with 7 innings, there anything's possible for sure. So you talk about the pitching side, but if you look at the stats, from this past year, both of you guys do some pretty good damage at the plate. So is there a pitch that you absolutely love just waiting on as it's floating down the zone, or you're just like, hey, just give me any opportunity, I'm gonna take advantage of it?
I have always loved hitting middle away and going to opposite field. That's always been something that I've been better at. But recently, like, using that, I've obviously, like, seen that pitchers are starting to come, like, more inside. So I've really worked on, like, looking for the middle away pitch, but, like, letting my hands react and just, if there's an inside pitch that is a strike, taking it that way and not waiting for a different pitch.
How about you, Hannah? Because, I mean, you have a pretty good batting average this year. You're over 500, and so obviously you're going to take advantage of those opportunities as well.
Yeah, I like middle away pitches also as a slapper. I'm, like, not supposed to, but, like, gives me an advantage to hit it on the left side of the field, and it's easier to do it. It's an outside pitch. But when I'm, like, standing in the box and not slapping, just swinging away, I prefer inside pitches because I can get my hands to them quicker.
Inside. I love it.
Yeah, and for those that may not know, kind of talk about being a slap hitter and how that plays a special role in softball. Obviously, like I said, watching the game back in the 90s, it was you'd have 3 or 4 or 5 slap hitters on a team. Now you got a lot more power in the game and a lot more athletes in the game. So just talk about kind of what it's like to be kind of a slap hitter versus a power or just a base hitter.
I like it because I feel like I have, like, double the tools that just a normal, like, stand-in power hitter does, because I can, like, place the ball where I want it to go, like, very carefully instead of just, like, swinging away, going gap to gap.
And Addi, I mean, same kind of on the same lines for you too, because I mean you had a pretty good season batting runs. I think it was 46, almost 50 RBIs on the season. So talk about the batting for you there as well.
Whenever there's runners on base, I don't really put pressure on myself because I know that, like, if I get the pitch, then I'm going to hit the ball, or I'm going to do my best to hit the ball. So I kind of just, like, if there's runners on base and we need those runs scored, I just let myself, like, calm down and relax. And I just have to remind myself that, like, I know I can do that. So, like, if I calm myself down and relax, then it's going to be easier for me to come through for my team.
If you want to have a fun way to spend a summer afternoon or evening, Nooga Splash is definitely the place for you. A floating 35-piece obstacle course located at Chester Frost Park in Hickson, providing hours of high-energy fun where you can run, jump, bounce, and splash. Nooga Splash has gotten bigger and better for the 2024 season, which includes the water roller and the tilting Saturn. You can go visit noogasplash.com for hours, ticket, and season pass information and more. Open now until September the 28th. So, like we said last week, Justin, you got Labor Day holiday, July 4th, to kind of take advantage of that. So we want to thank everybody at Nooga Splash for partnering with us for this Summer Spotlight Series and having student athletes like Addi Lewis and Hannah Smith from Chattanooga Christian joining us. And ladies, I want to thank you so much again for taking the time. Again, like we said, during your summer, kind of you could be going to the movies or going downtown hanging out, but you chose to come here and talk to us and support your teammate at the same time. So we definitely appreciate you coming out tonight.
Yes, thank you for having us.
So obviously, Justin said, you had you got a pretty good special season possibly coming up for you guys, back-to-back state championship appearances, and I know you guys are hungry for more, but it's good to know that you guys know what it takes to get to Murfreesboro to compete at the high level right there. So before we let you go, we asked this before the show. Addi, I'll ask you this too. Besides, obviously, Hannah, you don't want to face off against her at the plate. Is there a pitcher that you want to go one-on-one with, or to get the game-winning run? I mean, obviously, you want to get the best, pitch that you can, but you also there's got to be a part of you too that's like, hey, I want to go up against the best and get a hit off of her.
Obviously, like playing Baylor in the state championships the past 2 years, I feel like I would probably pick one of their two pitchers to go up against, just because I know that we've competed against them in the highest level that we could, and I've been successful against both of them some of the time, but not all of the time, obviously. So I just feel like if I put myself up against them, I could be successful, but they're both very good pitchers. So,
Hannah, we got about 15 seconds. Would you say Baylor, or do you have somebody else?
Probably yes, Baylor, and also Silverdale. They have two pitchers that I would like to hit off of again.